Okay. All right, let's go.
Yeah.
All right, so we've cloned the Grail project. Arthur is the author of this. We've been collaborating a little bit, but we're just going to get started and show you how it works. The goal would be to automatically generate all the scaffolding functions set up and get that up in the cloud for whatever type of app you're thinking of. We're not talking about the UI, we're just talking about all the backend stuff. And it won't write all the code for you, but it does so much work. Let's get into it and show you what we mean. Okay, so let's get Holy Grail running. All right, should be up and running on localhost. That's perfect. We'll go to documentation. Okay, so the really cool thing is, which one is it? Project Quick Start?
Yeah.
Okay, so basically if you just give it a little description like so in the try it out. Boop. So I'm just gonna have it make a calculator app. Basic calculator. Do you think putting the word app helps it, or just basic calculator?
I don't know.
All right, there you go. Execute that.
Probably change things up a little bit. I just haven't tested that yet.
All right. So it gets to work in the background, and so why don't you comment what you're seeing on the screen? It's doing.
Yeah. Um, we are currently going through and prototyping how this would work from a business rules perspective, and then it's just going to switch into software mode and start prototyping this thing with declarative YAML syntax, and it's going to then use that syntax to fully flesh out um, classes for each function, and each function just should have a pass statement in there, which will be later implemented with Cataclysm or some other form of code generation. And Cataclysm is just a library for generative code.
Great. So basically, what you're saying is we're really just trying to get to go from your idea in a sentence to the strategy of how you would build it from a business and strategy point of view. Then a little bit more specifics with like, okay, what backend endpoints and models would you need to create? Shows you all that, and then just goes and creates the scaffolding. Um, it's really not supposed to implement the code for you, but that's a lot of work that it does. I mean, look at while we're waiting for that. Look at the last run that we just did on the calculator app. I saved a copy somewhere. Is it still? If it's still here. Oh yeah. So this Nest calculator old. I ran this just right before this video, and here's the app. It's really cool to see. It's got a model that it builds. It's got services that it builds, and what Arthur is basically trying to say is it should just put the word pass and not try to implement it, but it accidentally implemented some of these for us, like adding two numbers. I guess it was so simple that it did these. So and then it stood it
Yeah,
up.
I got a
RESTful
lot of
endpoints.
wording about please implement a prototype. Do not use production code. Probably thought a calculator might have been a simple example for something more complicated that might actually be used in a production environment.
Right.
Which,
Oh, so application started complete. The reason why we don't want it to actually write the code, we were doing experiments asking it to go ahead and do the whole structure and set it up in the cloud and write all the functions. But what the basic results is,
struggles a lot.
yeah,
Needs to do it in layers.
it's just too much for it to do all at once. And then if it messes up on your code, then your project doesn't run. So by having a very simple, just please do the scaffolding, please get my project up in GCP and or locally if you want to run it locally and move on, that's really nice. Okay, so it says we started. So can I go to port 8080 yet? You think?
Potentially. Let's
Uh,
give it a shot.
I don't see. Okay, but I don't see. Well, I guess am I supposed to see it in Docker yet?
I think let's wait until it gives back some sort of response on the URL in the Swagger docs.
Okay. Oh yeah, I could go back to where we ran this from. Let's see. So we ran it from here, and oh, is this the error we got? What's that? I'm having these. I don't know why I'm having to run Docker as sudo, and we're having like weird. Is this? Did this? So
Oh, Travis,
Mhm.
you remember the thing before we changed Python 3.10 to latest? Go into Nest template.
Okay. 1 second. And Docker
Go
file.
to the Docker file there and
Oh.
then do latest. Travis's computer has something weird around pulling Python images tonight.
Yeah.
And pulling them from a Docker Compose didn't seem to work. However, if we pulled it with a Docker command, it used a cached image, and it appeared to work fine. So that's what we're trying to work with right now.
Okay. So how do I? What point do I need to rerun this? The whole thing?
Yeah.
Let's,
The other thing, I think actually I might also be running some stuff from the Docker Python SDK in Grails services. We might want to take a look at those also.
Okay. So real quick, let's get back on track. What do I need to do to get immediate gratification? I need my fix. I need my fix of AI generated code. Where do you want me to run again from? We fixed that Docker in the template.
Yeah, to get immediate gratification would be to potentially navigate into. You're in Nest right now, correct? And you just changed the Docker Compose in Nest?
Yeah, I changed Docker Compose in Nest.
Cool. Can kill Holy Grail and then CD into Nest and Docker Compose up on Nest. And change the Nest template also real quick.
No, I did change the Nest template. Oh, you mean the Nest template itself?
Yeah, we need Nest and Nest template to be changed.
Okay. All right. Should be autosave, but just in case. Okay. So what's next?
CD Nest, Docker Compose up.
From Holy Grail, Docker Compose up.
No, CD into Nest.
Oh, CD into Nest. Okay. Oh, because you think it already finished making all the code in this little Nest directory with my app.
I think it did.
Okay. And did it successfully put it up in the GCP cloud?
I think it ran into permissions errors with Docker. I don't think you have a Docker user group that your current user is signed into.
Right.
And so I think you need to be a sudoer and run as a super user to run the Docker commands as the moment.
Changing into Nest. Nest is just an arbitrary name you gave my project. Like you didn't name it calculator app. So you just happen to in the code you nest the code that it's generating. Really, this folder should just.
It does have a generative name. It's just not being mapped there. If we scroll up, we might see that. I'm not sure if it quite got to that point.
Okay, but basically, this folder should be called "Your generated code is right here." Okay.
Yes.
So we changed into "Your generated code is right here," which is your Nest folder. And on my computer, for some reason, I got to be a sudo user. We're gonna do Docker Compose up, and this is going to run it locally. This will be a good example of how do you run it locally. And our template on my machine, I don't have 3.10 on my machine. I got 3.09. And okay, well, port 8080 is up. So just little problems like that, you run into. But here is the code that it generated. Localhost 8080. So basically you run Holy Grail on port 5000 or port 5001, and then the results that get generated, you want to run it locally, you go to port 8080.
Right. Port 8080 gets bound in GCP in a container to whatever live URL.
I think it would have called my app stable calc, because that's the
probably would have. Yeah.
So I didn't ask for a scientific calculator app. I asked for a basic. But anyway, so yeah, this doesn't look too doesn't look like it. That would be a fun test. Ask for a scientific calculator. But let's try it. Okay, so it wasn't supposed to write the code, but since it did, shoot. Since it did, we can ask it, what is 10 plus 2? And the answer is 12. There you go. I mean, that is so cool. All we did was, tell it the app we wanted to write, and it wrote the whole thing. And I'm sorry you didn't get to see it deployed to the Google Cloud, but I mean, that's to me, that's magic. That's just pure magic. And look, I'm running locally. I can also just change in the directory and run Docker Compose up, run locally, interact with my APIs, and this is fast API, right? This page.
Yeah.
But let's go look at the add service. Let's just dive into the code real quick. I mean, it's not complicated. So nest app services, basically calculator. And
you'll also note here that the inside of the nest mirrors almost perfectly the inside of Holy Grail.
You wrote Holy Grail in a similar kind of
same structure. Yeah, both of them have an app directory with models and services. Both of them have autocontrollers, fallbacks, model ports, service ports, documentation, same env variables.
Mm-hmm.
The architecture file is a bit different. Both of them have Docker composes, Docker files, licenses. They're just very, very similar. To the extent that at some point in the near future, Grail will fully extend itself in the sense that you could run all the base Grail commands from any set of generated APIs and continuously extend a project like Git versioning.
All right, I'm gonna have to go watch the movie Inception again. This is like. So, what are these test services? Can I actually run a test of some sort that does anything, or do you just fill these in? What's the idea?
Yeah. The test functions are just for me to tell that things are up and working. Those are part of Grail 2. We're moving into Grail 3. Grail 3, the test services are pretty much create another copy of yourself, as opposed to Echo. If you scroll down, there's also generate text and basic proxy.
Okay, bring it down to earth. Do any of these test services have anything to do with good tests to test whether my functions are working properly?
No, they have everything to do with testing that the server's alive and nothing to do with testing your actual.
All right, let's mess this up. Let's add number 2 twice. Great. So I guess Docker does this little thing, just recompiles on the fly.
Yeah. Not reloading, so it's already updated the server.
That's really refreshing. That's the cool thing about dynamic languages. It reminds me, like, you write JavaScript, you can see it instantly. All right, so yeah. Do I need to refresh this page, or can I just hit it again?
No, you can just hit it again.
Okay, so this is going to say 14, and it's going to be wrong. Look at that.
Yep.
Okay, cool. This is
It does do some type checking. So if you go back to the page,
like right here.
No, into the VS Code.
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted to trigger an error intentionally, we could do something along the lines of return a string that says, for example, hello. And I believe we're going to get an error about not returning a float.
Okay. All right.
If everything's working properly.
Let's give it a shot.
Like I haven't actually tested all that. Yeah, internal server
cool.
error, unsupported operand types for plus, float, and string.
Cool. That's kind of where you'd go to GPT-4 and be like, why am I getting this error? Let's suss that out just for kicks, right?
Exactly. All the errors are intended to be forwarded to the endpoint if something goes wrong. That's facilitated by the autocontroller file.
All right.
It's using standard identic type checking.
Okay. My code is. I'm gonna go get my code, and it's gonna. It's probably gonna do a pretty good job.
Yeah.
See what's going on. Look at that. Let's see if we can get it to.
So it has decided to implement a type check for string as opposed to number. You see up there at the top, and that's some type coercion that's changing it into a string there by adding on hello.
Oh, I see. So it tried to fix my code, but it fixed it the wrong way. That's interesting.
Yeah. Close to that way.
But, by the time I'm typing this, so the reason why I showed this example on the stream is so when we get into
you want to use, you want to still use floats, and then we'll fix it.
Right. But this first example, let's say you're trying to auto-generate all your code, right? And then this gets generated somehow, right? And then you ask the AI, hey, this was broken. Here's the stack trace. Please fix it. You can see part of the complexity of auto-generated code down to the last line is kind of difficult because unless it has the context of what you were doing, it may not fix your code or write the code the way you want. So right. I wonder if we get it the
other thing here is we can have two layers of checking. We can have a functional layer that uses explicitly defined rules like the type system here, and we can have a sort of a guided system where we propose inputs to the system, record their outputs, and provided they don't trigger any errors, we can cross-reference that with GPT's internal ideation of what this function should do to refactor logical errors.
Okay. And do you see the example I just said? I gave it just a little bit more context. We're writing a calculator app. Now, I don't know if it's just luck of the draw that it happened to regenerate it without trying to turn that into a string this time, or if that context helped. But I know during your generation process, all the notes that it's keeping in the background, the log of strategically what it was thinking, and also these. Where's the comments of what it's going to do? Yeah, no, it's got those in there right there. So that type of stuff should try to keep it on the rails. So anyway, I can copy this code. I can go put this code in. And so we'd love to automate this portion, right? And what were you saying writes really good code that could have filled this in really well?
Yeah.
What was the technology that you said you want to insert here to kind of actually write this part of the code?
Sorry, I didn't catch that. Breaking up a little bit.
What was the technology you discussed earlier that can get in here and write the details of the code really well?
Oh, absolutely. A technology that could refactor it would be a combination of I believe there are some libraries for inspect for signature inspections on Python code, as well as GPT-4 for refactoring, and for actual implementation of the functions. Cataclysm.
Cataclysm. Okay. So basically, like, the next step would be like a second pass with the structure, and then, like, can we just go put, like, if these were not implemented right now and it just said pass, could Cataclysm right now write that for us? Like, can I just go to a website and ask it to finish this function?
Absolutely.
Okay.
There's a very specific format to how Cataclysm works that we are going to be extending in order to support some of the out-of-the-box functions.
Gotcha.
But you could definitely post that into the chat log and just directly see it come up with a solution.
Right. And of course GPT-4 will do it lightly as well. So
Sure.
Look at that. I wrote some pretty good code there. Look at this. Let's copy this. Let's copy this code. Okay, so we'll be implementing for Grails 3. We'll be implementing all kinds of does the whole scaffolding, the structure, sends it up to GPT, gets your models and services for you going in a nice way, has some thinking about it, and then some other things to go fill those functions in. Of course, you could always write them yourself too, or you could come over to GPT and pick away at it. But I really here. Let's try one more example while we're just running on it. Right? Why not? Do I need to shut anything down if I want to do another app?
No, you don't shut anything down.
Okay. I see you.
If you ping the endpoint, it's going to scrap that and try and set up a new container and a new piece of code.
I don't mind it. I don't mind it scrapping this little calculator app. No big deal. Let me go to port 5001. Okay, so this page right here. Oh, hold on. How come? Oh, I shut. Did I shut the server down? How come I can't get to 5001?
Not sure.
Oh, did I bail? Did I bail out of the Holy Grail? Yeah, I think I bailed out of the Holy Grail and went and ran this locally. Let me just bail out of here, and I'll do Docker compose down in this folder, and there we go. Nest app remove, change directory back up to the Holy Grail. I'll do Docker compose up. I'll just run it again. Okay. Port 5001. Yep. Okay. So I don't know how much more time we have. How much more time we got on Zoom? I'm not sure. Okay. Let's just go real quick. Boom. Okay. So basically project quick start, and the format needs a description. What do I want to do? What do I want to do? Can you think of? I don't know, man. You got any ideas, real quick?
I'm not sure.
Let's do this classic example. So GPT engineer does a snake game. It's built to do a snake game. So let's see what it does. Let's see.
Sure.
I guess kind of like a snake IO or something is maybe what's gonna kill.
Yeah.
Let's see what it thinks about this and does. No such file. Wait, is this already an error that's going to be your problem? Server API Nest app. Is that a problem?
That could be the issue.
Well, I don't know. Just let it run for a minute. Okay. So keyboard input. Oh, it knows about Snake Game. It's it's cool. It's been trained on it, of course. It's classic. So look at these. I mean, this is cool just to watch the back end. Like, if nothing else, this is good musings for like, God, what should I do about my back end? How would I break that down? And I think in Grail 3, you're going to kind of let me interact with this YAML strategy that it's coming out with, and then if I want to add to it,
absolutely. It comes up with a lot of interesting ideas, and not all of them are good ideas. But I do want to give the user control over that, and even some sort of a system for applying an arbitrary command to that YAML to refactor it.
Okay. I mean, this is cool.
Yeah.
I think it'd be really cool if you could pause on the strategy. Like, I like how engineer like says, okay, here's 5 things I need more clarification on. It kind of iterates with you until like it gathers enough, more input. I would love to see this like do more iterative stuff at first, but I don't know, man. It's doing pretty good, just the way it is. Look at that! Oh my gosh! Here it comes. Wow, this is a lot of thinking, man. Then you can just get down and get creative. So let's go look at. So look, it's making a food model, a game initialization model. Food model. So yeah, here it just put pass. It didn't actually create anything. Let's go look in services. So here's the food. Okay. I wonder what okay. Let's just while it's generating real quick. Let's go over to list index out of range. Oh, we got another error. Or do we still have Zoom going?
No, my computer's actually crashed.
Okay.
I'm gonna send you that over
so
text.
Basically it says internal server error, list index out of range. That's what it ended on. But it created all this stuff. So I feel like it's got the most errors when it's trying to deploy up to the cloud. And give us a URL for that. But we already knew that. So let's move on from that.
It's got errors because it's having trouble accessing your Docker daemon right now.
Okay.
On my own machine, I have a Docker. The Docker group is accessible to all users, not just those with super user or root permissions.
Right. I asked GPT what the fix was. It wanted me to run some user group commands. I didn't run them, so I should have. I didn't mean
okay, fair enough.
I didn't mean for it to mess up this much like this. But anyway, that's okay. But we're getting a local build. But yeah. Anyway, where was I? Oh, okay. So let's go. Well, okay. We have to go to. Okay. Well, I have to get out of this, and then I have to go. Run it locally. That's what I need to do. Yeah. So change directory nest sudo docker compose up, and I'll get my little Snake API running. Cool. So quick when it runs locally. I love local runs. Okay, so localhost 8080. And
the other thing I would say, this is.
I think I didn't. I think I killed it a bit early, and it didn't finish my endpoints. But okay, well we'll come back to this. We'll keep making videos and showing you the progress of the project, and don't know if
Sure.
I don't know if we want
The
to
other thing,
wait for a certain
something
number
like
of.
Snake has a lot of a front end and not much of a back end or APIs for that matter. So might not be the greatest example to test on, but it'll do its best.
Well, no, I
It'll
mean, I'm quite impressed. I'm sorry your computer crashed, but we've got like a food model and a snake model and a game initialization model, and then we have game initialization services. And so, I mean, I'm kind of tempted to like ask GPT to finish the create food and eat food services. Let's just go have fun with that real quick.
sure.
Show you this. Please
Functionally
finish.
speaking, everything should reduce down to a series of functions. In this case, we're automatically exposing them over the internet. Although in this particular case, something like mapping them to a PyPy package might be a little bit better for our intended purposes, or even better.
Slow down. Slow down your thought.
collapsing.
Slow down your thought. I didn't hear the problem you were trying to solve. I missed the context.
Not necessarily a problem, but just the fact that it might not necessarily make sense to run Snake as a series of APIs. Technically, you could run Snake as a series of APIs, but that just seems to me like it's adding unnecessary complications in the sense of connecting to over the internet and setting up all these RESTful endpoints probably cause lag in invoking all these functions.
Mm-hmm.
I would say it might be better to have some sort of a mapping not only to RESTful endpoints but to a form of PyPy package, or even better would be some form of a collapsing framework for all these services get extracted and refactored into a format that's more Snake game friendly.
Well, I mean, I've written games before. I mean, first thing, most gaming frameworks do is like a streaming framework. I don't know. That would help.
Sure.
And then you have the whole multi-game. I mean, this would be good for like a Snake IO game, right? I'm not sure how performant it would be, but it's concepts there. It's cool. I mean, you're right. This may not be the best example, but I can understand this example a little bit. I'm watching it. Look, I went to GPT-4 and I said implement the create food and eat food, and I'm pretty sure it did a decent job.
Yeah.
I'd have tested out a little bit, but yeah, I don't know. It's cool. It's like writing the functions. I wonder if you put it all together, what you'd have. So, but look, it's.
I think we have a highly opinionated API framework, a web framework, a game framework, and maybe some other sorts of common structures for software development might be good as templates for this thing to try and use, and perhaps even introspect and decide, hey, the user wants to make a video game, maybe I should use X because it's more tangentially related to this concept and would likely result in better code.
Yeah, no, you're right. We have very highly opinionated way this code comes out. Hey, I don't want to show any API keys on the screen. Am I able to look at service ports and model ports under Holy Grail?
I believe so.
We'll find out. All right.
If we do show any keys, let me know and I'll scrap them.
Yeah, no. It says get environment open API keys. So it's like you're pulling it out of the environment. That's cool. I was just trying to look at during this video, like, is auto controller okay to click on, fallback, stuff like that?
Yeah, should be.
Okay. Oh. Okay. Cool.
I
All
think
right.
I'm like
I'm gonna stop clicking around and see.
70% sure on that.
Yeah. I don't see any APIs on screen. I'm paying attention while I'm clicking. Yeah, but anyway, I was just trying to figure out like how would we do other models and services? Maybe under the Holy Grail app, your models and service. Well, whatever. We'll get into that in another video. But like maybe how to present different templates for different like problem sets. Also, I don't think Grails right now ever does anything with the database, right?
No, it has templates for setting up databases in the cloud, but doesn't actually interact with them. And it's not going to interact with them until we have some sort of a simplified version of interacting with the database that's highly standardized, and B, some form of code generation that's actually implementing things.
Okay. I was playing around with GPT today, asking it to make a strategy for my data model and then a NoSQL implementation, and it got pretty far. It looked pretty decent.
It absolutely knows about databases and how they work. You just have to set up stuff to provision those. And with most of this project, I've found that a lot of templates seem to be the way to go. And it's a lot easier for you to abstract the very intricate things first and feed all those in a very reduced format, this AI, so it can just make these simple, very high-level decisions of what do I want?
Okay, that makes sense. So, well, I can't wait to see where our project goes. And all right, well, I'm gonna end the stream here, and then maybe next stream we'll talk about how we'll share this project out.
Sure.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna wrap it up. Got to get up early. So, hey, good talking to you tonight, Arthur. This is really cool stuff. I think, I think it's right up there with the best projects out there. I can't wait for some people to try this out.
Absolutely.
All right. OBS. Well, have a good night, everybody. Goodbye.